Hey Heidi, hope you're well. Just jumped into your ad account and I am having a look at what the guys have set up, how they've set it up. Um, so the first thing I'd point out straight up is it looks like that they have implemented a bid cap. So the bid cap, depending on whatever the optimization or the conversion target is for that individual campaign. So it looks like here we're optimizing for landing page views, and for this website retargeting campaign, it's optimizing for link clicks. So first up, I would remove the bid caps. So the bid caps, they basically tell Facebook to not spend more than $3 per landing page view. Now, when we remove that, it's not necessarily going to spend the most for a conversion, but it's obviously always going to try and spend the cheapest conversion for you. So putting in a bid cap, one can just throttle and really slow down the campaign, as we can see here with the website retargeting. So this has been running for over a month now, since the 21st of July, and it's only spent 51 cents. Now the reason why is obviously it's trying to only spend money if it can get a link click at under 75 cents. So already just having that in there, that's just already stopping the campaigns and downscaling them. Which takes me on to my next thing. Always for conversion-based campaigns, optimize for whatever the conversion is. So we would always go optimize for that conversion. So while it's all well and good to have a really cheap click-through rate, good cost per clicks, a cheap CPM, they're all really good and really important metrics. But if they're not turning into leads, and it's not turning into sales, not turning into a return, there's no point of having cheap clicks if we're getting no return, right? So we always optimize for a conversion. So on that, it looks like that the guys have also set up a custom conversion and not use the hard-coded pixels in Facebook. So we always try to use the hard-coded pixels within Facebook, because it's a lot more accurate. The data that comes back is a lot more accurate. B, we have more control over the different types of campaigns that we're running, and we can segment our leads and our registrations and any touch point that a customer might have. We can segment them out and have a whole holistic view of where they're coming from and the different type of audience. And C, it's just Facebook is able to retain a lot more data about that specific goal or objective, which then helps for future campaigns and when we start to spend a bit more. Another thing is I can see we've split out Facebook and Instagram. I would always suggest just going with an automatic placement. Automatic placement, it will play your ad across the whole Facebook suite. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Facebook's audience network, which is third-party blogs and websites and apps. They're like banner images, so running across those as well, and messenger platforms. So I would always use automatic placements. Facebook is smart enough to know which placements are going to spit out at the best return and deliver the cheapest and the best, I guess, impression. So I'd always go with automatic placements, unless of course you do just want to run Facebook mobile, you do just want to run Instagram, you do just want to run Instagram stories, or you have tailored creative suited to each one and you want to split it out at a really granular level. And then we would look at doing something like that if we're spending upwards of $1,000 to $3,000 a day, so we can really scale our budgets a lot. But if we're talking about maybe $50 to $100 a day, I would always go automatic placements. Facebook knows which placements perform the best, so it'll do that automatically for you. And looking at the actual creative, they look like it's very much the similar or the exact same creative, but just on Instagram and Facebook. And you can see here that, for example, is how the ad will look on Instagram stories, which it's not the nicest looking, as opposed to something like that. So for Instagram stories, we would create a specific story ad and just run it on the Instagram stories, because that's kind of the exception with the Instagram stories, as the format is so different to everything else. And probably the final thing, just really top line, audit, I guess, looking at it, is the audiences here. So these are super broad. So males 30 to 60 with an interest in property management. There's going to be, I, I don't actually have the data or the viewability of how big that is, but I'm guessing that's going to be in the millions, maybe upwards of 2 to 4 million or something. So that's far too broad. There's too many people. There's going to be a lot of people in that group who show an interest in property management that aren't necessarily going to be our target. So I would really drill down into that. We would use a lot more interest-based targeting. We would really segment out and rapid fire test a lot of smaller niche audiences within that property management circle. So yeah, I would that's far too broad, and that goes back to my point around how the CPM is so cheap. The cost per click is very cheap. So having that broader audience, yes, it delivers the ad to a lot more people, so a lot more people see it. But we're also getting a lot more people who aren't the actual, that 10% or that 20% of people that are going to convert and going to use the platform and use this the Avanza product. So that's another big thing I'd suggest, that just really honing in on these audiences. In my opinion, this is far too broad. A few other things I would look at doing in terms of the audience is, if you guys have any databases, you may not if you're in that startup phase, but using existing databases, even things like LinkedIn lists, any lead lists from or email lists from previous businesses, or anything that you can get your hands on, grab those. We can plug them into Facebook. We can build out lookalike audiences off the back of those, and that's a much broader, or that will provide a broad, quite a big audience, but also super refined and very targeted audience as well. If that source list that we build it off is something, if it's just a list of property managers, then Facebook we're able to spit out a lookalike of a list of common traits, behaviors, interests associated with all that list. So there's a couple of things there to think about. I've just spent very briefly 5 minutes jumping in. So there's a couple of little things that could be improved and to think about. And on the ads side of things, it's far too vanilla. The creative is very nice. It's simple. It's very minimalist, which can work in certain cases. But for something like this, I think, what does 3.9% management fees mean for me if I'm a property manager? Is that, how much better is that? What is that? What is the call to action here? What is your Banza? Is it a platform? There's not really any call to action. The headline doesn't really stand out to me. Smart property management. So that could probably be jazzed up a little bit, and a little bit of work done there too. But yeah, if you want me to do a bit more of a deep dive and have a look at a very granular level, happy to. But let me know your thoughts there, and if you want to have a chat further, just let me know. Thanks.